Mission.
Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for watching my channel. I really deeply appreciate it. Listen, I've got an update for you with regard to the 2A Capitol rally that's going on nationwide. Of course, I've been focusing on the one here in the state of California. So here's what I've learned so far. I spent pretty much all day on it and a little bit of yesterday on it, and I've learned quite a bit. So let me share all that with you. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to work on it anymore because I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, and then I've got a very busy teaching schedule next week. So I'm hoping I've accomplished enough today that it'll at least give you some information to work with, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on in the future there as well. So today I got a hold of my local assembly member whose name is Randy Vopel, and he's very conservative, very pro-Second Amendment guy. I also got a hold of my state senator's office, that's Joel Anderson, again, very conservative, very pro-Second Amendment guy. And they were extremely helpful. I contacted by email 2 conservative talk show hosts in my area and sent them information about what's going on November 5th. I also got a hold of some folks at the California Rifle and Pistol Association and Gun Owners of California, which I'll talk about in more detail here in a second, the Firearms Policy Coalition, and Calguns. Now, with the exception of Gun Owners of California, I didn't get to speak to anybody who could really help me, but I did leave messages for the appropriate people there. And I had some long conversations with the Chief of Staff for Randy Vopel, who's my state assembly member, and I know her pretty well. She was extremely helpful. I was very grateful to have an opportunity to talk with her. So it was very positive. She was very helped me actually quite a bit, and then actually helped me get a hold of some folks in Gun Owners of California, which was really helpful. Now, along the way, I also had some viewers subscribers who were very kind and spent a great deal of time in Sacramento trying to iron out where and how and what and so on. And in all of that, here's kind of what we learned. First, we learned that there is a permit required for a gathering on the Capitol Mall if you have 100 people or more gathering. If you have less than that, then as far as I can understand, there's no permit required. If you have more than that, then there is a permit required, and you have to have a $1 million bond. Now, I'm going to tell you more about that here in a minute, but those are the rules. Now, a bond, if you don't know much about bonds, I've had to buy bonds before, and then I'm a bail bondsman. So I can tell you a lot of times when you're buying security bonds like that or any kind of bond, the fee for those bonds is generally 10% of the bond amount, and you don't get that money back. So if you actually had to buy $1 million bond and pay full price for it, probably would cost $100,000 to have the bond. So that's problematic if you have to go through that process. So if you have 100 or more people, those are the requirements as far as I can determine. The California Highway Patrol is in charge of that on the Capitol Mall there, the state capitol area. So if you want to be anywhere in there, that's how that works. Now, no weapons are allowed on the mall at all. No guns, no knives, no nothing. As far as I could determine, you cannot take any kind of weapon on the Capitol premises. If you do, that is against the law. So just be aware of that. If you happen to have a concealed carry permit or you happen to carry a folding knife or something, my strong advice is do not take anything like that on the Capitol Mall, because if you get caught with it, you're probably going to get yourself in serious legal trouble. And I have a concealed carry permit, and I do take a folding knife with me everywhere I go. I would not walk on the Capitol Mall with either one of those things. So if that's what you're planning on doing, you might want to rethink that. Let's see. If the Capitol Mall doesn't work out for some reason, we could go to a park. There are a number of parks where rallies have been held before in the Sacramento area. The concern I have there, and it's also been expressed to me a lot, is that the homeless population in Sacramento has sort of exploded, and that they have a very serious homeless problem there. And obviously, if it's anything like San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco area, the homeless tend to go where they're comfortable or where they can actually make a place for themselves, and parks work out well for that. So there are many parks here in the San Diego area, I can tell you, that have been pretty much taken over by homeless folks. I can't say as I blame them, but nevertheless, it does make it difficult to have a rally there or any kind of a gathering at a park where the homeless have made it their home and have taken up much of the park. So if that's the case, that makes it more difficult. Now, I also had a little difficulty getting a hold of the city of Sacramento today. It was Thursday, so it makes it a little tough. And the city notoriously does not move that fast on things like this, but I had to try to find out if we had to have a permit to meet in the park. My understanding is that we would, but I was not able to determine what that permit process is or what the cost would be or whatever. I just ran out of time by the time they closed for the day. And again, I'll be traveling tomorrow on Friday, so I won't be able to check. That's going to have to be up to someone else. So that's kind of what I discovered was there's a 10-day. You have to apply for the permit on the Capitol if you're on the state Capitol property anywhere on that Capitol Mall or whatever you want to call it. You have to apply for the permit no less than 10 days prior to the event. And most of them are applied for many, many days before that, sometimes a year out. There is a permit required if it's 100 people or more, and there's a $1 million bond required if there's 100 people or more. Now, here's the other thing. If you have the permit or the bond, whoever's name is on the permit and the bond is responsible for the cleaning up of any messes made by the folks that attend the rally, and they are financially responsible for any damage done during the rally. So if somebody breaks something or lights something on fire or something stupid like that, guess what? You're responsible, and you got to take care of it because that's the way that works. So whoever's got their name on that is then financially responsible for that. And that's kind of scary if you happen to be the person putting your name on it. So I realize that. Again, if you have less than 100 people, my understanding is it's free, there's no permit, and whatever. All right, likewise, on the Capitol Mall, there's a couple things that came up about that. One, my understanding is that Antifa has an event scheduled the day before, which is Saturday the 4th, and we're talking about having this rally on Sunday the 5th. Well, there's a couple problems with that. One, there may be still some Antifa folks hanging around on the 5th. That could create a problem for us. They tend to be aggressive and violent. We've seen that, although obviously we don't plan to be either of those things, but they are, and so there may be a problem there. So there have been a number of people expressing concerns about that if they attend, they're concerned about their welfare, and they're concerned that they don't want this to end up being a violent clash between California gun owners and Antifa folks. And I don't blame you. I wouldn't want it to be that either, but that is a possibility. I think the other thing is that once you have the local government there in Sacramento having dealt with some very violent people or some troublesome people, which Antifa tends to be, and then you have gun owners coming to have a rally the following day, I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a heightened sense of security on the day that we're there, and if the law enforcement isn't just a little bit more sensitive to things that go sideways when we're there, because they've had to deal with that the day before. I think that's human nature, and so I would be aware of that. Now, the other thing that came up with Antifa is, and this was part I got to tell you was very disturbing to me. I've gotten a number of emails from folks who want to help, and I've gotten a lot of comments on the YouTube channel from folks who are encouraging, want to help, want to be there, want to get people there. I've also had a number of comments from people on the YouTube channel, which you probably didn't see because in many cases they've had pornography, or not pornography, but curse words in them. And so the filter has filtered them out. It does that automatically because I don't allow that kind of language in the comments. I try to keep this a family-friendly channel. So a lot of those have been scooped out because of that, but there have been a number of folks who, in response to the idea of Antifa being there, have indicated they plan on bringing weapons, rifles, handguns, ammunition, armor, and so on. The rally's purpose, as I understood it in talking to Matt at Never Enough Ammo, and I agreed with him, and we talked at length, the rally's purpose is to demonstrate the truth of what California gun owners and gun owners across the country really are, which is hardworking, law-abiding, average Americans. And we come from a whole lot of different backgrounds and different beliefs, and we come from different sizes and shapes and colors, and we all make our rice differently or our beans or whatever the case might be. Sometimes we speak different languages, we come from different cultures, and we may disagree on a lot of things, but we agree on the Constitution, and we certainly agree on the Second Amendment as being a God-given right that is actually simply protected by the Second Amendment. It certainly isn't granted by it, and we agree with all of that. But nevertheless, we happen to be hardworking, law-abiding Americans, and that is what we want to make sure that not only our lawmakers understand, but also that the average American who isn't a gun owner or a Second Amendment advocate understands, and certainly that law enforcement understands. We want them to see who we really are, not who we aren't. And so if we show up armed to the teeth, dressed in camo, dressed in tactical gear, and all that kind of stuff, if anything, that sends precisely the opposite message that we're trying to send with this rally. So if that's you and you're thinking about showing up that way, I want to encourage you to think hard about that and change your mind. And if you intend to show up that way, and that's the only way you'll show up, I'm going to ask you not to show up. You have a right to do what you wish to do, and certainly nobody's going to tell you to leave unless the law enforcement does. But if you show up armed on the Capitol Mall, you're probably going to get arrested and go to jail. And the last thing we want to have is an armed conflict. So, be aware of that, all right? So there's a few things that I learned about how this works. Now, with regard to the permit structure and the $1 million bond, I had a very good conversation with the wife of Sam Paredes from Gun Owners of California. She was incredibly helpful. We talked on the phone for quite a while. She's been working around the Capitol and along that political kind of aisle there for 30 years. She understands how it works. And she indicated to me that if a state legislator sponsors the event, then the 10-day period is waived. And from what she understands, oftentimes that $1 million bond is waived because it's sponsored by a state legislator. Now, here's the problem with our particular event. It's been planned with such short notice, and that's not a referendum or a criticism of anyone. It's just a fact. And it's also on Sunday. I spoke to several offices of state legislators today. I spoke to a number of people today who wanted very much to be there, who want to be at an event like this, who were excited to hear that we were putting on an event like this and would love to come speak and come talk to us and come be part of it. But it's coming up with too short notice, first of all, and it's also on Sunday when none of them are in town. So that's the biggest problem with it right now. We don't have a location unless we're going to be on the Capitol Mall, which we can do if it's under 100 people, but nobody's going to come up with $100,000 to get a bond, and nobody's going to want to put their name on the permit if we need a permit because nobody wants to be responsible for cleaning up the mess or any damage done. That's just reality. I wouldn't do it, and I don't know if you will. I doubt it. Okay, so and we don't have a big backer. We're not backed by a big millionaire or something. So if it's less than 100 people, you're good. More than that, you can't do it on the mall. You got to do it someplace else. And we don't have a backer in the sense that we don't have a state legislator that is sponsoring it. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that with the contacts that I made today and yesterday, I know that I can get a state legislator to sponsor a future event. So that's something that William and the Daily Shooter and I were talking about on the phone earlier today. He's not going to be able to make it. He just got out of the hospital and had some serious surgery, and he's not going anywhere. He needs to rest and get better. I'm not going to be able to be there because I have another event that I have a conflict, scheduling conflict. I cannot get there. Even if I got on an airplane to go, I cannot be there on the 5th. So I won't be able to be there. So neither one of us are going to be there. What he and I want to do is we're going to turn this over to you because I can't work on it anymore. I'm out of time. And obviously he can't work on it because he's still recovering from surgery. So this is going to be pretty much for you to do if you want to go. I'm going to leave the page on my website at gunguy.tv. Now, you can also get there with gunguytv.com and gunguytv.net. And if you want to put updates there as you learn things, you can do it in the comment section as I've been doing. If you don't see your comment appear immediately, it's because it will send me an email and I have to approve it. But I'll make sure I do that just as quickly as I can and get those up there. But that way you can do that. You can also go to the link in the description of this video or the previous update I did to the Facebook page, and you can keep each other informed there as well if you'd like to do that on the Facebook page that is for this event. So if you want to go and you want to organize it yourselves and kind of keep track of it yourselves, go ahead. I was not able to get any guest speakers because it's Sunday and it's too short a notice, but William and I are going to start working together to put together a future event where we actually have a location lined up, where we've gotten a state legislator to sponsor it, and we know we have legislators coming to speak to us. Might even try to get the county sheriff up there. I understand he is very pro-Second Amendment to come speak to us, and we'll see if we can get somebody from Gun Owners of California. If Sam Paredes can speak to us, I've met Sam. It's been a number of years ago. That is one sharp guy, and he's golden. I would love it if he came and spoke to us. That he is awesome. So if you're not supporting Gun Owners of California and San Paredes, please do. That guy's about the hardest working guy I think I ever met, and he's working really hard and very passionate about our Second Amendment rights. Well, anyway, that's kind of where it leaves it. Again, I want to just say again, look, if you're thinking about bringing guns, or you're thinking about dressing in tactical gear, or you're any of that kind of stuff, please don't. If you're going to go, then my advice is dress properly, dress like a normal, everyday, average American, and go there, be peaceful. And, you know, if you want to make a sign or whatever you want to do, and you're protesting, that's great, or you're demonstrating, or you know, whatever we want to call it, a rally, all of that is fine. If law enforcement tells you to move or leave or whatever, you know what? The best thing to do is comply, because if the press makes it out there, or if you've got or any kind of video or like that, if you're not complying, that's what's going to end up all over the web. Now, here's the other thing. If you happen to go, and a number of people go, please, please, please send me video from the event. I will post it on my channel. I know that William will do the same. So we can let people know that the event went well. You can tell me about it. You can write a little column about it. I'll put it up on the website. I'll put it on YouTube. And William will do precisely the same thing, and we'll make sure that the word gets out there. We'll use our voices for that. And we are going to pursue these relationships that we've built. I have built some politically, which in the past, and then also in the last couple of days, I've kind of rekindled those. William has some contacts at the California Rifle and Pistol Association that I don't have. So between the two of us, we may be able to get something going in the future where we can have a little bit more time to plan it and make it a better planned event. But there you are. So anyway, unfortunately, that's the end of my involvement. I can't be involved with it anymore because of time and space and place. I've done what I can, and I've shared the information with you that I have or was able to glean. Again, I'll leave the website up. I know that William's not going to be able to participate either because he's sick. Once again, if you'd like to go, I encourage you to do so. I would just encourage you to, represent the rest of us just the way you would want to be represented as a law-abiding, honest, hardworking American, because that's what we are. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for all the support that I've gotten on this and all of the support this has been given. Thank you so much for the folks in Sacramento who bird-dogged this and found the information that we needed. I really, really do deeply appreciate it. Have a great rally, have a great week, and please be safe.